Okay, we are now live and ready to go in five, four, three, two.
Hello, and welcome to the WrassleCast, episode 102. I'm your host in the big chair this week, Don Delarente, and I'm joined by my Miss Elizabeth, to my Randy Macho Man Savage, Miss Dee Dee Jonay.
Hey, friend.
What's going on, Dee Dee?
Edibles. What's going on with you?
Oh, that sounds like a good night. Nothing, a little Thursday night football and some wrestling, so, you
Who
know.
playing? Who playing on the footy balls?
San Francisco is playing the Arizona Cardinals. No score
Ooh.
halfway through the second quarter. Not that interesting.
Well, that sounds quite boring.
Yes, everybody should turn to the baseball game, the Boston and Indians game. It's much more exciting.
Mm.
So I've got some exciting news to get into this week. As we'll start off with probably the biggest news, which is that TNA, the rumor is, has officially been sold, and Billy Corgan is going to be the majority owner of the company. And with this purchase, he is planning to take the company dark for a few months and rebrand it and bring it back out with a totally different name, totally different look, totally different feel. So,
Gasp.
so again, TNA, on the deathbed, always finds a way to, get resuscitated. So good luck to Billy Corgan and Matt Hardy and all those guys. We'll see where they go here in the near future. And also with that sale was the sale of the video library, which was sold to WWE. So be looking out soon, probably in the next maybe 6 months, 3 or 4 months, for TNA content to start showing up on your WWE network. So go back and see classic matches with Samoa Joe and AJ Styles and Sting and Hogan and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and Ric Flair and Jay Lethal, and you can all catch those things on the WWE Network. So that should be really exciting for Vince. I'm pretty sure he's stoked about that. More content for the network, more eyes. In our next bit of news, we have two stabbings of wrestlers take place in the past week. First, Jamie Noble was stabbed outside of his home uh,
Mm.
in a trailer park. I guess it was a double wide. Shout out to Heath Slater. Um, the guy rolled up on him who said that he cut him off. They had some confrontation, some words. Jamie Noble was trying to be apologetic. He got physical. Jamie Noble started getting the best of the dude, and then the dude's friend jumped out of the car and stabbed him twice, once in the side and once in the back. He had a collapsed lung. He was in the
Oh, my
hospital
Lord.
for most of the week, but he is said to be out and doing better. And Alberto Del Rio was also stabbed this past weekend in Texas, right before he was supposed to go do a big show for AAA. Needless to say, he did not make the show. There's a lot of rumors and innuendo going on over this stabbing. Apparently, nobody in the San Antonio county heard that, a stabbing call, so it might have been another jurisdiction that handled it. And there's conflicting reports on whether Paige was witness to this altercation or not. There's some reports saying she wasn't. There's some reports saying that she was. So over the next couple of days, I guess that'll get hashed out and be a lot clearer. But hopefully those two guys get well and healthy and back on the road as soon as possible.
Mm-mm-mm.
And our last nugget of news is that Goldberg is getting ready to sign a deal with the WWE, and he will be wrestling Brock Lesnar, his old nemesis from the first time he was with the company. So
Mm.
never
Poor
say never.
Goldberg.
Never say never when you're dealing with, Vince McMahon and these wrestlers. They guys always say they don't want to work for them. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. But they always seem to find their way back home. So I guess this is going to be a SummerSlam match. I mean, Survivor Series match. Excuse me. I'm not sure. It's not
Um,
going to be a Mania match, and it's only going to be a one-off. It's not going to be a actual,
I'm
feud, quote
sure.
unquote. But This is basically so Goldberg's son can see him wrestle.
Oh,
Goldberg's son is like 10 years old, and so he's never
oh,
seen him wrestle. So Bill Goldberg's been for the past couple of years, he's been kind of lobbying and politicking, trying to get a match in the WWE just so his son can actually watch him wrestle. So
because Goldberg is 49 years old.
right, but Brock Lesnar probably didn't give a shit about his son, so I would watch out.
It just doesn't seem safe, but none of my
Well,
business.
I'm pretty sure Goldberg's in pretty good shape. He trains jujitsu just
He's
about every day.
old.
So,
He's old.
well, okay. Age
I
is
worry
nothing
about the
but a number.
bone. I just worry about the bones. That's all. I worry about the bones.
Well, I'm glad that you have such a fear for Goldberg's safety and well-being.
He's
Glad
fine
somebody
though.
does.
I'm looking at these pictures like, hey, Goldberg.
He's just like that salt and pepper in his beard.
I
That's all that is.
do. That's like the cheat code. Oh, he
You
married
know.
a stunt double. Oh, I like him. That's clever. I like stuff like that.
So, from our news, we're going to jump into our reviews. And of course, like every
Wait, I
week.
have more news.
Yes. Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Brie Bella is pregnant.
Oh yeah, she is. Daniel Bryan hit the O face.
Yeah, it's gonna
Mm.
be funny
Yeah, so
because
next
Nikki's
season
not.
of Total Bellas should be really good.
Hmm.
Did you
I
happen
can't.
to see it this past week,
No, I
the
don't know
premiere?
when. I don't know if they announced it on the show. I just saw Daniel Bryan's tweet, and he
Oh
was like,
yeah,
"Well,
yeah, it was
everybody
a tweet.
knows now," and I was like, "How do they know?" So I missed something, but all I know is old girl is pregnant.
Yeah, they had like a WWE press release.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
so
look
it
cute.
wasn't on the Total Bellas, excuse me, show, which I
Hmm.
have not seen, so I don't know how good or bad it was, but it had John Cena in it and Daniel Bryan together, so couldn't have been that bad.
Apparently, the dog bit John Cena. Dogs be knowing. I
Interesting.
try to tell
Yeah,
you.
yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully we can get somebody to delve in and want to be our Total Bellas correspondent. I tried to throw that out there to some of our listeners, but nobody seemed to want to take the bait. So
I'm sure there's somebody. It'll probably end up being Sam because Sam manages to know things
yes,
through lies and shenanigans.
yes,
So I'm sure
yes,
he'll keep us up.
yes. And if you guys want to, start a hashtag or a live tweet, feel free. We'll promote it and draw traffic to it. So
Yeah, fellas matter maybe. Mm,
yeah, Total Bella cast,
something. We'll figure it
something.
out.
Yeah, we're creative. We'll figure it out.
Hmm.
So let's see what type of creative they had for this week's Raw, where it starts with Roman comes out, cut an opening in-ring promo. He says
Hmm.
nobody in his family has ever held the U.S. title. Then he gets interrupted by Lana Bay, hey Bill, who on behalf of Rusev challenges Roman to a title rematch. Roman insults Rusev, comes down, and who then comes down to the ringside. Rusev and Roman begin to brawl. Rusev super kicks Roman over the barricade. Rusev walks up the ramp with the U.S. title. Roman comes from the blind side, hits Rusev with the Superman punch, and then he tells Rusev that the rematch will be in Hell in a Cell. So why do we cheer the guy who's talking bad to another man's wife and boo the guy who's defending his wife? Is
Because
that
fuck
really
your
right?
wife. Don't nobody care about your wife.
We all care about Lana. What are you talking about?
Nah, but not as somebody's wife. We care because we love her. We don't love Mrs. Rusev Machka. It's a totally different thing.
If you say so.
But did you appreciate how Lana brought back the shut up? I did.
Yes,
I
yes.
definitely did.
I appreciated her plaid too. She was looking good.
I was a little, Irish Christmas for my liking, but sometimes you have to expand your horizons.
I guess so. So there's our first official match for Hell in a Cell. So Rusev versus Roman Reigns, Hell in a Cell match for the U.S. title. So then we get a recap of T.J. Perkins and Brian Kendrick from over the past 2 weeks. Then we get our match, T.J. Perkins versus Brian Kendrick. TJP taps out to the Captain Hook, and Brian Kendrick wins the match. Now, initially, it was promoted last week that this was going to be a title match.
It was. Mm-hmm.
But somewhere between last week and this week, it became a non-title match, and they do what they always do to their champions, which is beat them in the non-title match. But this was a very good match. The crowd was really into both guys. They're both from California. Raw did take place from the Staples Center in LA. So the crowd was very hyped, which I'm glad to see because the past couple of crowds hadn't really been giving these guys their props that I thought they deserved.
Sure
It was
haven't.
it's a really good match, and Brian Kendrick looked good. So
Yes, he did.
yeah, I know you're all on board with that.
He glowed up. That's all I'm trying to say. But how do you feel about the purple ropes?
I loved it. You got to
I do
remember,
too.
I watched it for 10 weeks. I love everything about the Cruiserweight
I know.
Classic division.
But as I was, because I was drinking, so I couldn't live tweet with you all. But I did tweet later, and I was like, "Oh, I'm really feeling the purple." Satis Jackson, I want to say 305. I could be getting the numbers wrong. He said he didn't like it. He thought it was too gimmicky. So I just wanted to know what
well,
you
that sounds
thought.
like somebody. That sounds like somebody who didn't watch the Cruiserweight Classic.
Whoop.
Because if
I
you
guess
watch
so.
it, yeah, if you watch the Cruiserweight Classic, that's the way it was every week. Everything was purple. That's the reason why the belt's purple. Is because
I
how
love
this
it personally.
oh yeah, it looks awesome.
I'm a fan.
I was a huge fan from the very first time they presented the first match with everything about it. Yeah, it's awesome. So next we get a sit down interview with Michael Cole and Seth Rollins. Basically, Cole's talking to him about the injury and if he's cleared and all the trauma and all the drama and turmoil he's been going through between Mick, Stephanie, and Kevin Owens and Triple H and trying to get his title back. So, real good interview. I thought it, brought out a little bit more personality from Seth, got him away from the crowd. So you could really, hear his thoughts a little bit clearer and without all the interference of him trying to do a promo over the crowd. So good piece of business there. Then we get our next match, Braun Strowman versus Chase Silver. Braun wins the match with his power slam. Then he gets an in-ring interview with Byron. He tells Byron that Foley needs to get him some real competition because they are wasting his gift of destruction. What you think? It's not the gift of Jericho, but
I mean, what can be the gift of Jericho, really?
So then we have Sasha and Bayley backstage talking about the WWE Women's Title match. That will be the main event of Raw later tonight. Bayley basically says that, she wished it was her in the spot, but since it's not, she couldn't think of anybody else better than Sasha, and that they are going to be the main event, and that they are reaching the rarefied air of Lita and Trish Stratus.
No. And look, Sam's not here to make any off-color jokes about Lita.
Yes. So Owens and Jericho come out for an in-ring promo. Owens gives a rebuttal to the Rollins interview earlier in the night with Michael Cole, and then they challenge New Day to a non-title match. It was really funny because they were talking about they were the best friends and they were the best in the business, and why not try to have all the titles? And Jericho makes a little remark like, "Hey, it's not like I'm trying to go for your title." And then there's a little bit of like cheering in the crowd, and then Kevin Owens is like, "Yeah, you're right. Let's try to be tag team champions." So they, didn't think they could get a title match right off, so they challenged him to a non-title match, and then they said they'll beat him in a non-title match, and then they'll be granted the title match. So of course, New Day comes out, and they go back and forth with Owens and Jericho, and then they end up granting them the match for later tonight.
Wait.
They all go ahead.
Are you gonna talk about
the list?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted it to be acknowledged that Xavier's on the list twice.
2 times. 2 times. And then
It appealed to me that they didn't actually want to be on the list. Like they were okay mocking them, but then he was like, "I'm gonna put you." Like, no, like wait, and it was so funny to me.
he put Kofi on the list, and Owens is like, "No, that's KOF, not C." So yeah, so all 3 members of the New Day made the list of Jericho. Xavier twice. I can't remember how it's set up, but Xavier got a nice burn where he said that, when's the last time Kevin Owens jumped over anything looking at his size? That was pretty good.
And they sold it too. E and Kofi are some awesome hype man. Just awesome. Because what Xavier said was, first of all, we don't be in the water. So that's already wrong. And he was like, second of all, when have you jumped over anything? And I cried and I cried and I cried. And I was at work. It was so awkward to be like loudly laughing because everybody look at you like something wrong with you.
No, it's just New Day doing what New Day does.
They're so awesome. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Probably the best segment of the first 2 hours of this show.
I'd say so.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So then we have our next match, Sami Zayn versus Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil actually has a new gimmick, the Titus brand. He gets an inset interview where he's all dressed up in a suit announcing, this new Titus brand. Well, in the match, Sami gets the win with the hell of a kick, and the Titus brand is over in its first night. And then on WWE.com, he had a press conference. So you guys should go check that out. It's really funny. Tom Phillips is hilarious in it. So they might actually have something with it if they kind of bring what they did on WWE.com. If they can bring that to Raw, I think it might actually work this time with Titus. So we'll see. Jay, there may be some hope for your Hershey Chocolate Superman or Chocolate Hershey Superman, however you deem him. So then we have Sheamus and Cesaro basically show up to the arena. They're arguing about why they were late to the arena and just being the odd couple that they are. Then we get Golden Truth versus the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers hit the Magic Killer on R-Truth, and they get the win. So they're trying to repackage Anderson and Gallows as real serious and, some real threats and real dangerous and some killers now and not some comedians. So we'll see how this works. Then we have our guests of the night for Raw, Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson. They confront Jericho and Kevin Owens backstage. and reads off his list. So that was a really good segment too. You could tell that Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho had a lot of input into this because usually these kind of celebrity things don't really go off that well, but this one was really entertaining. Thoughts, questions, concerns? No? Okay. Then we get Big Cass and Enzo, and they present the survivors of breast cancer with the Raw Women's title. Of course, this is the October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is the promotion they do with the Susan Certified G Coleman Foundation, as Enzo put it. Enzo had a little bit of problems unveiling the belts here. He pulled the sheet the wrong way and knocked them all over.
Cass is like, calm down.
Yeah, so I put out on Twitter that Big Cass just shot up about 15 points in Vince's eyes because Enzo just screwed up this presentation. But Big Cass was flawless, though.
Yeah.
So then we have The New Day versus Jericho and Owens. Rollins runs down to the ring and distracts Jericho when he had the Lion Tamer on Woods. The New Day then hits the midnight hour on Jericho and they get the win. After the match, Rollins gives Jericho the pedigree because Kevin Owens saw Rollins and he got the hell out of Dodge. So he wasn't anywhere around. Seth Rollins had to do all his damage to Chris Jericho. So distraction finish.
Yay. Oh, no, that's too big. Okay. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So next we have Charlotte and Dana. They have a backstage promo on the title match tonight with Sasha Banks. Charlotte says that she's going to expose her and knock her off the perch that she sits on. Seth gets confronted by Stephanie in the back, and then they have a heated exchange. What did you think about Steph? Did she actually? Seth Rollins actually shot back this time, which was actually pretty good.
Yeah. It was a good back and forth.
Yeah. Then we get the Rich Homie Swan versus Tony Nese. Tony Nese wins this match with his finisher. This was actually, I forgot what they call it. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't have it in my notes. Excuse me. Rich Swan is going to be super, super duper over him and Cedric Alexander just in time. Are probably going to be the two biggest guys in this division. And they might actually have the rivalry that makes the cruiserweight division stand out in time. So watch out for those. Actually, Tony Nese too. Watch out for those three: Cedric Alexander, Rich Swan, and Tony Nese. Then we get Cesaro versus and Sheamus versus two local competitors. Cesaro and Sheamus win. Cesaro tries to do this move where he walks and jumps off of Sheamus's back into a DDT, and the thought and the premise was pretty cool, but the execution kind of didn't go as planned. But they still got the win. Then we get our main event of the evening.
Ooh.
Sasha Banks versus Charlotte for the WWE Women's title. Sasha wins with the bank statement, as she had a counter to the counter that Charlotte used at SummerSlam this time. If
Mm-hmm.
you remember, it was the bank statement, then Charlotte kind of bridged back and kind of pinned her, and then Charlotte actually rolled through the pin and had reapplied the bank statement, and Charlotte tapped out. There is a really cool corkscrew moonsault on the outside that Charlotte broke out.
Mm-hmm.
That was very, very, very eye-popping. It looked like she was just going to do her regular moonsault, which is really, really, really cool. But she put a little corkscrew in it this time and really raised everybody's eyebrow. This was a really good match. Really, really, really good match. I thought that they hit everything perfect. And Sasha Bay is the two-time Boss Bay champ. So sum up Monday Night Raw for me. What'd you think? This was one of their better ones they've had in a while.
Yeah, you had Xavier on the mic being awesome. You had Chris Jericho on the mic also being awesome. Had to go back and forth with Kevin. Then you end with the most awesomest match, not ever, but in a very long time, with Sasha and Charlotte. You have Charlotte and her face like getting all like flushed and going like super psycho. Like it was a lot. It was good
Yeah,
though. That's
it
what you
was
need
very
for
good.
3 hours. You need emotion and humor and this and that. You need things.
Right,
You have to have
right.
the things.
So I don't know. We may be on our verge of seeing our first ever women's Hell in a Cell match between these two. That's been kind of what the rumblings are in the internet community around everybody is that we're gonna have our a women's Hell in a Cell match. So
Yeah. I've heard
stay
various
tuned.
things. I've heard if it happens, these are the girls. I've also heard if it happens, Sasha's gonna kill herself. These are things you have to think
Yes,
about.
yes, because everybody's afraid that Sasha will try to do something off the top of the cage.
I'm sure she would.
Yes,
I'm sure she
and
would. You kind
and
of
we
have
already hold
to.
our breath when she does her dives
Yeah.
or anything of high risk. We already are, you know,
Nervous for the
very, very
girl.
concerned and nervous. So, but it'll be interesting to see what they decide to pull off if they go that route. I don't know. Like I put on Twitter, are we ready to see two women in a cage match?
I am. I'm just worried about Sasha.
Yes, we all worry about Sasha. But for right now, she's the Boss Bay champ, and everything is all good. It's back where it's supposed to be.
hmm I know Finn is mad because I Walk Less is a Charlotte stan.
Yes,
Okay,
he is. Yes, he is. That's his queen, as he likes to put it.
he ain't lying. That is his Caucasian princess. Yes.
Yeah, but like I said last week, and like I'll continue to say, I mean, these two women are basically Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, and I just hope that they don't go to the well too many times
Mm.
because, I mean, I'd like to eventually see these two women do this match at Mania.
Oh yeah.
But if we get it so many times before then it won't have that specialness that it would have if they, brought this match, just those two to WrestleMania.
True. Oh, the
So,
other thing we didn't mention is how Bailey put her paws on Dana.
oh yeah, before the match started, yeah, that's right. They were walking past Bailey in the backstage, and of course Charlotte, dismisses her or whatever, and walks on by, and then Dana tries to put her paws on her, but she actually got the paws put on her and ended up
Yeah.
hurting her knee in the process, so she couldn't make it down to the ringside to aid Charlotte in the match, which I know
Hmm.
you guys love when they just square up and go one on one and
Let's
don't have
thug it
any
out.
interference.
Thug it out. It's like some bad guys. I don't mind when people interfere. Like when Chris Jericho interferes, it's cool because he's fun. But Dana's boring. She need to go away.
Right, right.
And she adds nothing to the proceedings. It's like she in a rush just to get her own ass beat. Like it's so stupid.
Well, she's still in training. She's the enforcer in training. She has to learn these hard lessons.
She got beat up by Dora the Explorer. That's all I'm saying.
Uh,
Enforcer.
Dora the Explorer wish she had the mean side ponytail that Bailey rocks.
Maybe when she's a teenager, grow out that bowl cut.
So that was hashtag Rawcast review for this week. And now we're going to move on to everybody's favorite hashtag SmackDown Matters.
Hash the tag. Okay. So this week's SmackDown comes from somewhere. I don't know where. Do you know where?
Of course, San Diego, California.
San Diego. How nice. So Bray opens the show with a match against Kane. Uh Things they happen. Bray hits that creeper walk that he does, but he notices Randy on the Jumbotron. So there was a distraction going on. Bray avoids a choke slam from Kane, then leaves the match, so Kane gets the count out win. And so eventually he goes to the back to go find Randy. We'll get to that. Next, backstage is Baron Corbin wearing a hat that covers his terrible hairline. Jack Swagger confronts him and says that he's going to find Daniel Bryan so that he can make a match and find out if he's as good as he says he is and all that stuff. So Bray's backstage in the Blue Shadows talking to himself. We'll come back to that. Next is Alexa Bliss versus not Brie, Nikki Bella, and Carmella's on commentary. Nikki slams Alexa's head onto her knee, then sends Bliss outside with a drop kick. Then she throws Bliss into Carmella. Back in the ring, Carmella runs into the ring, and basically the match ends. Becky runs out to end the double team on Nikki. So when we come back from commercial, there is a tag match. Becky and Nikki versus Carmella and Alexa Bliss. Carmella hits a Bronco Buster for a 2 count. She misses the second one. Becky tags in, hits something that sounded like they said bitchplex, but I don't think that's what it was.
Bexplex.
Bexplex. Sounded like bitch to me. I don't know. So yeah, hit that on Alexa. Then Carmella hits a super kick. She eats a spear by Nikki. And then they end up running to the back. Then Alexa hits Twisted Bliss on Becky for the win. Oh, Carmella hit the super kick on Becky, so that's why she's already out for the count. And Alexa's able to capitalize for the win. Next, Daniel Bryan presents 5 cancer survivors with the championship belts. There's a blue. Raws are red. We're still separate. Next, Vaudevillains versus Hype Bros. Mojo has a magic Mike move he calls the hammer time.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of thrustage. I'm a fan, but it was like a little like, whoa, whoa. It's a
It's
lot.
aggressive.
It's very aggressive. Very aggressive. Like 3 drinks in aggressive. You can't just do that sober. You gotta ease the people into it. But anyway, Ascension come out to the top of the ramp. There's an exploder suplex on Zach for a 2 count. Mojo hits 2 shoulder tackles, and I'm calling it a T-bone tackle. I don't know if that's what it is. Then they hit the hype rider on Aiden English for the win.
The T-bone tackle, or AKA the pounce. Shout out to Mike Brown.
Okay, next is The Miz and Maurice. They're in the ring for Miz TV, a documentary. They introduce Dolph. He comes out. They play the tape. It's quite embarrassing. I fall asleep. When I wake up, there are 2 old Spirit Squad members out in the ring. They're doing a cheer that they clearly haven't practiced. Dolph gets on the mic and he's like, "You want to fight?" He's talking to Miz though. And then so Miz goes, "Sick 'em." And then the Spirit Squad members beat up Dolph. They get the better of him for a little bit, but eventually Dolph hits them both with super kicks. One after he jumped from the top rope, so that was fly. Miz goes for his finishing move that I can't remember the name of.
The oh, you put me on the spot and I just went
Ha.
blank.
Ha. Yeah, that's how I felt when I was trying to write these damn notes. I was like, what is this stupid move? Yeah. So he was going to hit that, but Dolph gets out, and then Miz ends up almost getting super kicked, but he slides out of the ring quite smartly. And that's the end of that.
I can't believe you said you went to sleep on the video. The video was hilarious.
I saw it, but I've seen it twice now at this point. I saw it Tuesday, and then I saw it earlier today, but I be sliding in and out.
They showed when he was Nikki. They showed when he was the caddy. They showed when he won the title.
Caddy, yeah.
And then they showed when he lost the title. They showed when he had the black hair for like 1 week with Vicky.
He had black hair? I'm glad they didn't keep that. That's awful. I know that's awful.
They went through the whole Dolph Ziggler retrospective.
Interesting. I skipped a few things. Backstage,
the skull crushing finale. That's
there you
the name
go.
of the Miz's finishing.
That's what Miz was trying to hit, but Dolph got out of it. Also backstage during this, Bray's still looking for Randy. He finds his own chair in what looks like a shipping container or a garage or something. I don't know.
They're like a storage bin, like a storage unit.
Sure, a storage unit. That's probably more accurate. Randy comes out of nowhere, locks him in. Later on during the day, you can see him in the room still sitting in the chair talking to himself. I'll come back to it. Next match is Jay Uso versus Jason Jordan. Uso is wearing skinny jeans. It's quite nice. It's very thug life. He loses when he tries to counter some move that Jason does, and Jason just basically sits on him, and he gets the 3 count. Afterwards, the Usos attack both members of American Alpha, throwing the white one into the stairs and taking Jason out at the knee. And they're going to do some more damage to them in the ring. Then Heath and Rhino come out to their rescue, and the Usos walk away.
The white one she was referring to would be Chad Gable.
It's so many names. Oh my God.
You never remember his name.
I don't know why. Chad Gable is such, it can't be his real name.
I think it is.
That sounds like the name of like a used car salesman.
He's an Olympian, so yeah, I think that is his name.
Chad Gable. What's your name? Chad Gable. It's like, I don't know. This doesn't sound like a real name. Okay. Yeah, Kurt Hawkins is still doing things. His first match will be at No Mercy, and that's basically all we got into with him today. Back to Bray. He's singing to himself in the chair, and then he says, "I knew you'd come back, Abigail. I'm ready to go." And then the lights get all wavy, and then it moves off. But Abigail's back, allegedly.
Yes,
theoretically.
I love Sister Abigail.
I love Sister Abigail. I love it more if it's his real sister, but don't nobody listen to me on things like that. But at least she's back in canon. She's still a thing.
We've been advocating, me and you've been advocating that for like the last year.
Had to be a year, solidly. They just need to listen to us.
Yeah, they do.
Just pay us in pay-per-view tickets. That's all.
Actually, I would like an actual check. Thank you. I can
They're
buy
not.
my own pay-per-view
They're
tickets.
not gonna
Or
write.
since I work for the company, I won't have to buy any tickets.
They
I
they
just
not.
show up.
They not gonna write you no check, B.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry. Sorry to tell you.
Vince has got the money. I mean, he can
That's why
throw
he
me
got
some
it, because he don't
peanuts.
give it to nobody. That's the scam.
Rich people logic 101.
Next match is Swagger versus Corbin. Swagger puts Corbin in the ankle lock, and the ref says that Corbin tapped, but he didn't. No, he
Yeah, he was
didn't.
he was struggling trying to reach for the rope, but he
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
hitting the mat, pulling himself towards the
yeah,
rope.
yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't, nope, but who cares? So then Baron throws some steps, and he throws part of the announcer's desk in anger.
It's a good way to start a feud though, between two people
Yeah.
that nobody would normally care about.
Yeah, and people are still halfway into Swagger, mostly into the We the People, but you take what you can get. It's
Yeah.
cool.
The ladies in the SmackDown Matters were very lusty over Baron Corbin with his beanie on.
Okay, let me let you know. That beanie is scam. It's a scam. Because he looked good as hell with that damn beanie on. That's that LL Cool J shenanigan. Remember when he used to wear a hat for like 20 years straight?
Hmm.
And everybody was like, why you don't ever take off the hat? And you're like, oh, that's why. It's a scam.
Yeah, because LL got a milk dud head.
You gotta know, before you start falling in love with men, ladies, you have to check them without their hats. And you need to see if you can find a picture of them without a beard. Because you never know what that chin is popping off of, and you never know what that hairline is doing. That is just my advice to you. You don't have to listen
Mhm.
to me. You probably should though.
I
Anyway.
think the correct phrasing would be listen to me now, believe me later on.
That's the perfect way to put it. Okay, final thing of the night. It's not a match, it's just people talking. AJ comes out. He says things. Dean interrupts and says AJ took the easy way out on his win back when AJ beat Dean, whatever that was. But he said that's okay, that's fine. He's not even mad about that right now. What he's mad about at the moment is John Cena and how John Cena did something. Whatever. So then John comes out, and before he can even get a word out, AJ says, "Shut up. Just stop talking. You already know what you're going to say, so just shut up." And, basically doing a never give up, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I'm awesome. And then he says, you think that you're ever going to be as good as Ric Flair. You're not even in the same conversation, but you go ahead, you chase those 16 titles, because while you're chasing history, I'm making history. So before he can get his reply up, Dean interrupts and he's like, shut up. I already know what you're going to do. You're going to spin the story about how I am into making you the good guy, because that's what you do. You spin stories to your advantage. He says, which I thought was interesting, he said he has taken no sick days off. And he said 2 years in a row now, he has had the most matches in a year.
They say he's never been injured.
He says he's never been injured. He's never had a sick day. That's what he said.
That's that burn. He's talking about that backstage politics too.
Yeah. So then he's like, what you got to say for yourself? And then John says, talk is cheap. And he tackles Dean. Then he gives him an attitude adjustment. Then AJ gives John a phenomenal forearm. AJ is on his way out, feeling like hot shit. Then Dean slams into him out of nowhere. And he hits the dirty D's on AJ on the steel ramp. And that is how your SmackDown ended this week.
Yeah, that was a tough looking dirty deeds on the ramp.
Yeah, it was mad violent.
Yes.
That was
I
a
like
good
the
review. Mm-hmm.
I like the way they closed it. It wasn't as good as the week before show. It's kind of like they switched the two shows. Like maybe this one should have been the show for last week, and last week should have been the show for this week. But
Yeah.
still, all in all, I mean, for like this is how I'm going to preface this. For a SmackDown show, it was weak, but as comparison to Raw, it was still good.
Still popping. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So when we gonna run down the No Mercy matches later?
Yep.
Okay.
So at this point, just like SmackDown matters, Amazon.com matters to us. So please go
Absolutely.
to CSPN.us, click on the Keep Our Podcast Free banner at the top of the page, scroll down, you'll see the Amazon tab. Click on that Amazon tab, proceed to shop for whatever items you need through Amazon. It's getting cooler, so sweaters and hoodies are definitely, and long socks for the ladies are definitely starting to become the thing that everybody's going to want and need. So go through Amazon, get those things, do them through CSPN.us, and help support the WrassleCast and all your other favorite podcasts here on the CSPN. Help keep us free, and also get you some cool stuff at Amazon. So again, that's CSPN.us. Click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. Scroll down, find Amazon, do your normal shopping, buy your things, and kick back some of that purchase to us to help keep all the podcasts free here on the network. So next we're going to go into NXT, and we're starting off with the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament Round 1. So our first match is the Bollywood Boys versus the
Mm-hmm.
Authors of Pain. The Authors of Pain advanced to round 2 after hitting their Russian leg sweep clothesline combo, which they're calling the last chapter.
Hmm.
Then we have a Dan Matha vignette for his debut later in the night. Then we get Rich Swann versus Patrick Clark. As you guys know, Patrick Clark was a contender on Tough Enough, the black guy on
The
Tough Enough.
black
Yeah.
guy.
So Patrick Clark has a new gimmick. His new gimmick is kind of looks like Prince, but it's a little more like Young Thug.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you got to see it. So
It sounds awful, is it or no?
it's got potential.
Okay.
He's it's the first time he's shown it on TV, so he's still trying to work out some quirks. But it wasn't a showcase for him. It was the showcase was for Rich, so
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't really tell. But there's Rich wins the match. He does a cartwheel into a round off into a standing moonsault,
Oh
gets the
wow.
win. Yeah, but there's a .com video that I saw today
Mm-hmm.
where Rich Swann hit Patrick Clark with the elbow and chipped his tooth.
Oh.
So Patrick is at the dentist, and he's like, that I forgot what he called him a name, and he's like, whatever he called him, Rich Swann. He was like, he hit me with an elbow. I came to come into an encounter of a wrestling match, and he's out here brawling, and he's throwing elbows, and he's chipped my tooth, and he's like, I'm hideous. And so they show the dentist, shaving his tooth down or whatever they do when you chip your tooth and you
Mm-hmm.
know bringing the smile back. So that's really cool to check out. But yeah, like again, if they can bring what he brought in that .com thing to TV, it
Mm-hmm.
could definitely uh, be something that people can get into.
Hmm.
So then we get a video recap of the match between Cien Almas and Cedric Alexander from last week, which was the backstory to why they are now a tag team in the Dusty Classic. Then we
Mm-hmm.
get a recap of Liz Morgan versus Asuka, the title match from last week. Then they show Billie Kay and Peyton Royce making fun of Liv in the training room when she's getting her arm looked at after the match last week. So then we get Peyton Royce versus Danielle Carmella. Hey boo, we got a new black girl in NXT, Dee.
Oh yay.
Yeah, I don't know if she was like a cheerleader for the Phoenix Suns. She was like a reporter as well, but now
Oh.
yeah. And Quantum Central R has a really nice picture with her that he showed me today. So yeah, I'm jealous. But Peyton Royce, she gets the win with the perfect flex. And so it looks like Peyton Royce and Billy Kay are, trying to form a little duo and start making some noise here in NXT. So then we have a backstage interview with the Glorious 10, which is Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger. Charlie's interviewing them about their match next week in the tourney. And Bobby Roode does all the talking, and he keeps cutting Ty Dillinger off. And basically, he's telling them that he's expecting a lot from him next week and that they expect to go far in the tournament. This is a really good interview, just kind of, Bobby Roode just stepping all over Ty Dillinger. He couldn't get a word in with Charlie, so it was real good between those two. Then we get Dan Matha. He debuts in the ring, but that actually results in a beatdown by Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe says that, again, that these beatings will continue until Rico gives him Nakamura or gives him his title. And he said if he just beat up his prized blue chip prospect, and if he thought that was bad, if he doesn't have a decision for next week, things will get much worse.
Oh, my.
Yeah, Samoa Joe is not playing no games. So next we have No Way Jose and Rich Swann, and they're interviewed on why they became a tag team. And they basically said that, they both came up through hard times and that, they both dance and it's just like a natural fit. And then Rich Swann asks, can you handle this? And then our man goes, no way, Jose. And they go dancing off. Then we get a vignette for Sanity, who will debut next week. Then we have our main event, Cien Almas and Cedric Alexander versus the top guys, Dash and Dawson. Dash and Dawson catch Cedric with the Shatter Machine and get the pin to advance to round 2. After the match, Cien Almas attacks Cedric. He drops him on the steps, and Cedric appears to be knocked out. They come out to Cedric's aid, and then Cien Almas is walking up the steps, telling people to shut up, and, people are reaching out, and he's jerking his hands away. So looks like we've got Cedric Alexander is going to be in his first program at NXT with Cien Almas. So I'm looking forward to that because maybe it'll make people actually care about Cien Almas. He's just been kind of floundering since he got to NXT.
Oh, really?
He really hasn't had any true direction. So maybe they'll make him a heel and he can get people to, invest in him. So we'll see where it leads, but pretty good show. The beat down by Samoa Joe of Dan Matha was one of the highlights, and of course Cedric Alexander wrestling in any ring is a highlight. So what we're watching hashtag check it out. Every Thursday you guys can find Lucha Underground and NXT, so you guys can watch where we review. And speaking of Lucha Underground, we're going to move into that. The show starts with Dario's Dial of Doom. He spins the dial, and it lands on Prince Puma. So Prince Puma is going to get a title match later tonight. Our first match is Sam's favorite, Ivelisse, versus Mary Posa. After reversing the butterfly effect, Ivelisse hits the sunset flip powerbomb, and she gets the win. Mary Posa and Marty then attack Ivelisse after the match. I wasn't too bad with Marty this week. He left my girl Melissa alone, so we was all good. I don't have any ill will towards Marty this week.
That's good.
Then we get Cueto on the phone in his office with someone, and he says that Matanza is a god and he will be fine with this match tonight against Prince Puma. Mundo comes in and demands a title shot. There's a shot here where he goes, Wait, Dario, do you think God gave me these abs for nothing? And they do a real close-up on his abs and he kind of flexes them. So I'm pretty sure when Jade watches that, she will definitely enjoy all of that. So again, like I said, he demands a title shot. Cueto says that a title match isn't in the cards. Mundo then demands a match with Sexy Star for the Gift of the Gods title because she took the fall last week in the intergender match. Cueto says that's a great idea and grants the Gift of the Gods title match to Jack Evans because he was the one who pinned Sexy Star. So again, Mundo just walks out of the office all, disgruntled. Then we have a Follow the White Rabbit vignette for a new faction that's coming soon. Our next match is Tejano versus Brian Cage, match number 2 in their best of 5 series. Cage wins with like an inverted flatliner to go up 2 matches to none. Then we have Evilise backstage recovering when her boyfriend shows up and asks if she was in the match already. He notices,
What?
yeah, he was late. She was like, yeah, you're late. He was like, well, I figured my girl would be in the main event, trying to,
Oh,
do the old cover up.
try to butter her up.
Yeah. He noticed that she's in pain and asks, did she lose? She says no, but she did get jumped, and then her man gets all hyped saying he wants to beat somebody up. Evilise calms him down and says that she wants her wrestling and her relationship separated. Her boyfriend's name is she calls him Jeremiah, but
Hmm.
he's Sammy Callahan,
Who's that?
and he's this punk rock looking dude with like half haircut. He's pretty rough looking.
Sammy
He's just,
Callahan.
yeah, Sami Callahan.
Why everybody want to be Sammy like Sami Zayn now? Like,
Well,
oh, okay, okay, it's fine, whatever.
he looks like a punk rocker. That's what he'll put you in the mind of.
Okay.
So then we have our main event: Prince Puma versus Matanza, Lucha Underground title match. Prince Puma hits the 630, but Mertis hits the ring and hits Puma with the big spear and then the flatliner. Matanza then gives Puma a pop-up Wrath of the Gods power slam and gets the win. Prince Puma got his ass whooped in this match. I mean, he really only had like maybe, if the match was 15 minutes, Prince Puma
Hmm.
might have had like 5 minutes total, or where he was actually on the offense.
Oh
Yeah, between
wow.
Matanza and Mil Mertis, they really beat him up pretty good. So then at the end, Joey Ryan brings Killshot an envelope from a guy who was hanging around out back. Killshot opens up the envelope and it's a torn piece of paper that reads, "You left me for dead." They
Oh.
do a close up of Killshot's eyes. He's all like, bugged out, and then the show just ends. So, pretty good matches on Lucha Underground. The Evil Lee's Mariposa match was really good, and then the main event, of course, was very good. Prince Puma doesn't have bad matches at all, and this was Jade to the Max Dream. This was her Baywatch. She had Killshot at the end, Prince Puma, Cage, Johnny Mundo flexing his abs. So yeah, they gave her a gift for this week. So that was all of our live events for this week on TV for our reviews. So of course, this is a weekend where we're going to have a pay-per-view for WWE. That pay-per-view is a SmackDown pay-per-view, and that is No Mercy. So that means that this Sunday, starting at 8 p.m., the live tweet hashtag will be hashtag No Mercy Matters. And so we're going to give our little preview here. Dee Dee, if you want to keep notes so you can keep our tally.
Sure, sure.
All
Pull up
right.
my notes and I'm ready.
All right. Our first match that we have on deck is Nikki Bella versus Carmella. Who you got?
Carmela.
I've got Nikki Bella.
Okay, me, Carmela, Don, Nick, Cat.
All right. So next we have Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt.
I got Bray.
I've got Bray too.
Cool.
We have our SmackDown Women's Title match between Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch.
Becky versus Bliss. Well, since I know where you're going with it, I'm gonna pick
Yes, I'm going to go with Miss Bliss.
Becky.
Pint size Harley Quinn. Bliss cakes. Hashtag resting bliss face. So then we have our SmackDown Tag Team title match between Slater and Rhino versus the Usos.
I have to go with Samoan. That's just how this works.
I'm going to go with the Usos as well this time.
What?
Yeah.
You don't have faith in Heath Slater, baby?
You know how I feel about Heath Slater, baby, but I just think the Usos are just hot right now, and I don't think they're gonna waste the momentum that they got. So
Hmm.
our, our next match is for the Intercontinental title. It's title versus career as the Miz defense versus Dolph Ziggler.
We've established that I do not pick the Miz, regardless of what I really think is going to happen. So I pick
Okay.
Dolph. Hmm.
All right. I'm going to pick the Miz
Hmm.
because I do pick the Miz. I do like the Miz.
I like the Miz. I can't do it
I
for
got you.
reasons.
And then our main events for the WWE title, we have AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose versus John Cena.
Um, I'm going with AJ.
I'm going with AJ as well. I know that's a difficult decision for you because you don't really feel it for either
I
one
don't
of those
I
three
don't
men.
see it for any of them, but I don't really feel like John has earned anybody's title ship right now. Like he's been a loser lately.
That's what AJ Styles said on Talking Smack. He was like, so why is John Cena in this match? I beat
Right.
him. He lost to Ambrose. So then he goes, what's the logic? What's the reason? And they didn't have a really good answer for
Right.
him.
Because there ain't no good reason. He's in it because he's John Cena. But as far as like what, no, he hasn't earned it. So the answer is no.
Right.
So I could see it going back to Dean, but I don't really feature him either. So I'll just go with AJ, and maybe he'll win it, and then maybe like him and Dean can have like a hair versus hair match.
I think what's
It could
going to happen
happen.
is Dean and John Cena are going to fall into wrestling each other.
That makes sense because Dean is very much like you're mad because I won't kiss your ass.
Hmm.
And that's not like a mild story that you just like gloss over in the goings on of a three-man. Like that's a storyline. You're mad because I won't kiss your ass. And you've been
Hmm.
trying to hold me back for years. Like that's something to build on. So hopefully we're both right.
Hmm. Oh, and another thing that I've noticed is that it seems that SmackDown, especially with at least their top guys, AJ, Dean, John Cena, that
Hmm.
they've kind of, and The Miz, and maybe even Dolph to an extent too, that they've kind of seemed like they let those guys kind of do their own thing more with their promos. Because I mean,
Mm.
that Dean Ambrose promo that he cut on Cena was pretty light. He was talking about backstage stuff, chopping the legs
Hmm.
off of people whenever they get, some momentum to, keep his spot and everything. It was real personal.
Hmm. Yeah. It sounded like you're a hater from way back.
Yeah, and it
And I
didn't
don't
sound
think
like
that's you.
and
Yeah.
it didn't sound like anybody like wrote that for him. It sounded like
Mm-mm.
he been holding that for a minute.
Like, oh, I've got thoughts. Hmm.
Right. So I think that's another reason why SmackDown is coming off as a better show right now. Is just because their top guys are being allowed to, kind of bring their own personality into their interviews and their promos a little bit more. And then, of course, talking smack, which is just a highlight of which you don't get to see these guys actually just go up there and do their own thing with nothing involved except for, just themselves and trying to get their personalities over. So another reason why, hashtag SmackDown Matters.
SmackDown matters. We matter, bitch.
Now,
Hey. I was about to get into a remix. You
before we
wasn't
get
ready,
into our,
Don.
I wasn't. Before we sign off and get into our shout outs, I wanted to say this last bit of news to the end of the show. We here at the CSPN and here at the WrassleCast are proud to announce that we are adding the new Slay podcast to our lineup. So they will be our sister show. And that show will be hosted by Young Littlefoot, Seattle Slim, and Jordan. They have their first episode up already, so please go check that out at alexislittlefoot.com. And you guys check out the new Slate podcast. It's a little bit different format than what we do here at the WrassleCast. It's more of like, this week in WWE. It's more of an overview, not per se match by match rundown. And the ladies are drinking, and they have their own little twist. They play they play games, and um, it's basically like the WrassleCast meets the Pettycast that Seattle Slim used to have, and they made their own wrestling show, and we are glad to now have them be a part of the CSPN. So start looking for those episodes next week. I think they drop on Sunday. So the new Slay podcast is going to be our newest addition to the CSPN. We're very glad to have them, and very excited for y'all to hear them and give them feedback and follow them and support them, and give them a shout out, send them some tweets, let them know that y'all rock with them because y'all rock with us. So congrats to those ladies, and it's a very good show. Please go check it out. So Dee Dee, you can give your shouts out if you'd like.
Okay, my shout outs are definitely to the new Slay cast, and then shout out to my connect, my plug, for the edibles that I'm eating right now. Yeah, it's great. It's great. And buy it responsibly.
New twist to the distraction finish tonight.
Yeah. So I've eaten like half the muffin. We'll see how that gets me. Shout out to what else? Samuel working the night shift. Shout out to Greg doing doubles and triples. It's tough. It's tough.
Shout out anybody who was at the karaoke the other night. Jeff Esquire doing a little thong song I heard.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Jeff for doing the thong song like a real nigga. Shout out to Reese. She won 2 bottles of champagne for being the best singer up in that said karaoke. Negative shout outs to the girl who sang 3 songs, sounded like trash on every one of them. How you mess up Say My Name?
Yeah,
how you mess up Killing Me Softly? How you messed them up?
Everybody don't have a voice for that.
Nope. How you mess up I'm Just a Girl? The words is on the screen. How you don't know? Nope. If you can't read, you can't do karaoke. Sorry. Not sorry. No shout outs to y'all. But yeah, shout outs to Reese. Shout outs to the steak and cheese egg rolls. Those were bomb. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I'd like to shout out my SmackDown correspondent, SmackDown Matters, Miss Dee Dee Jonay. I'd like to give a shout out to Sam, our usual co-host, couldn't make it. I'd like to give a shout out to Greg, of course. He's like our Jerobi from Tribe Called Quest. Give a shout out to Classic for doing a little extra work here, being our producer tonight. Always big shout out to him. Big shout out to Mel, aka Beauty Jackson. Big shout out to Seeds. She said that she's coming back to the podcast airwaves this month. So I'm like Sonic. I've got my foot tapping, looking at my watch, just waiting. I'd like to give a shout out to Dan and Jeremy, because their team is 0-4 in the Crown College Fantasy League, and I'm 3-1. So I'd like to give a shout out to those guys. My team in the Another Score League needs to get their act together, but we won't be talking about them on this particular show, not just yet. I'd like to give a shout out, of course, to everybody who joins the WrassleCast, everybody who joins SmackDown Matters, everybody who will join hashtag No Mercy Matters again. That's the Sunday night, 8 p.m. live tweet, No Mercy. Use the hashtag No Mercy Matters. And I think that's it. Oh, we forgot to talk about that real quick. The final battle. Did you watch the TNA?
I thought they couldn't get the money.
They got the money. And they had the show they had the show and they had the match, and the match was kind of like half in the arena and half like on tape. But
Oh.
but a really really interesting concept. It was actually I like the match, the final war, whatever final battle, more
Mm-hmm.
than I like Delete versus Decay for some reason when
Hmm.
they had it in the field. But yeah, it was really good. And of
Oh.
course, the Hardy Boys won, and they are the tag team champions now.
Yay.
And then I saw a very interesting match, ROH over the weekend. They had ladder wars between, I forgot what they call themselves, the Addiction, Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels,
Mm-hmm.
versus the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, versus the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best ladder matches you'll ever see. So many inventive things they did, and the star of this match was Christopher Daniels. You talk about bleeding. Oh my
Oh.
gosh. He looked like, if you ever seen those old wrestling magazines from the like 80s and 70s where the guy's all blooded on the cover. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was Christopher Daniels. I mean, he got busted open huge, and I mean, it was flowing the whole match. But yeah, really high level stuff from the Young Bucks. They do some crazy, ridiculous things. And also, as a side note, Alex 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 Cole, can't even
Uh-huh.
say it. Their champion versus Michael Elgin was a very good match too. Adam Cole versus Michael Elgin was a very good match too for the ROH championship. So those are just some random matches I kind of saw this weekend. So I'd like to give a shout out to all those guys and those matches who entertained me here over the weekend while I was catching up on some pay-per-views that I did not see live, but by other means. And those can be found, of course, underneath the What We're Watching hashtag as well. So if you're interested in seeing those three matches, I would suggest you do so. Highly entertaining. So if there's anything else you want to add, if there isn't anything else you want to add, this has been episode 102 of the WrassleCast. And for my co-host, Didi Jane, I'm Don Delarente, and we will see you guys next week. Stay tuned for the parting promo. Yeah.
Parting promo.